on Oxide. There is one expectation for this game that we'll get into after the introductions for our decider match. We start off in the top right on top of this Freak of Freaks player. He is Trap.
And over in the bottom left-hand side, playing for Team Prep, it is Haas. My tongue did that little weird thing where it's like, don't know what I'm saying at all. But yeah, Oxide, it is one of the maps where the one-gate fast expand has become so prevalent, such a real thing. But Haas might be going for something a little bit cheeky here.
Nexus first?
Yeah, absolutely. Playing the meta a little bit. If it turns into one-gate fast expands, well, how to one-up your opponent? Maybe a bit of a Nexus first.
Yeah. And it is a good way to actually not have to worry about being blocked, by the way. So one gate expand versus one gate expand. They both can send probes out similar times and proceed to both block each other's Nexus. It's really, really quite odd. But the Nexus first, you actually don't have to worry about that. I mean, you just have to worry about having a later gateway, thus later summon X core, thus later technology and warp gate. So it's not like it's a trick, and that's like going to be the new PvP meta. But it's something to consider. Haas kind of gets to play at least the first, 4 minutes of his game.
Very curious about what Trap is going to do here, because he is mining quite a bit of gas, from what I can tell from the scoreboard, although I say that and it's going up slower than I recall. Oh-ho!
Oh-ho!
You know, when you go for a one-gate expand, and then, you see your opponent's going for it faster than you, it's kind of like, well, do I have to punish that now? And I think Trap's going to go for something like maybe a Void Ray. I know, a Robo can be used, but the Void Ray seems to be the most likely option, I'd say.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to hold off on that. It could be either one. Trap is definitely going to be getting aggressive. He wants to punish this. It's going to be the Stargate. Haas is getting a Zealot here, possibly to try and either send across the map or defend this one, but he's cornering out the second. Obviously, he got a second gateway, realizing that he's about to be in trouble. It's just this technology is so much later that there really is, what can you do? And I guess pulling more probes with the Zealot could be an answer. I don't feel like it. It was a good surround, though.
It was a good surround, but he's going to lose a few probes here, and this is buying Trap quite a bit of time to try and get that Stargate up, and I think he's going to do it, and then the shield battery's going to finish as well, and okay, Big Daddy Adept coming over. That really shuts this down.
Yeah, I was like, this is why I was confused. I was like, well, the Adept definitely comes over and stops any attempt of a probe, cancel or a Zealot cancel, but I guess Haas must just be going with, the overwhelming numbers theory.
Oh, I think he might get it,
Yeah, exactly. He literally, I think this was his theory. I'll just send so many units across the map that even if they might die, it's still going to get the Stargate. Actually, Trap gives up on trying to save it with the Adept, just goes for the guaranteed couple of kills, but 2 Adepts show up for Haas at the exact right moment. And Trap, what do you do from here?
I'm not entirely sure here, Zombie Grove. I think he has to go for the full wall off. And I know he's a Nexus behind. What's the resources loss tab looking like right now? And it's obviously, pretty close actually in the income tab. I think the income's got to be way better for Trap, right?
Oh, especially since the Adepts got in and continues to do more damage. Lots of lost mining time. I mean, oh my God. Oh, wow. This is actually getting so crazy. It's exactly what we expect from a PvP with Haas as Trap continues to micro his Adept. That should be taken out eventually. No, he's going to say... No. That dies, right?
It's got... not if you leave it.
No. Yeah.
Okay. But this wall-off situation, okay, we'll get it up along with the shield battery here, but this is definitely spicier than it should be, I feel. I think Trap... Okay, I was wondering why he wasn't going for a defensive Adept behind this wall just to try and push that back a bit faster, but the aggressive warp-ins, Haas has no clue, right? Well, he does now. He must know now.
I felt like that was the second. How many Adepts in total have been lost? 2? Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. He must know now. I mean, why else did they get in there? Recalls the units that he had. I mean, this is such a weird game because at the end of the day, it looks like Haas has taken so much damage, and he definitely is. Never count out this lost mining time for what is only a 4.5-minute game. But he does still have the second Nexus, and he's still at even probes.
Yeah, it's funny that Trap is the one that's basically all in from here. But I much prefer his situation, right? That's 2 Stalkers. There's no shield battery here either. I mean, that's brutal. And Warp Gate, look at Warp Gate! Zombie Club.
All right, I don't think I can exactly blame Haas for not expecting someone to build an at-home Stargate after losing their proxy and then just flying it across the map. I don't judge Haas for being underprepared, but it is unfortunate. Had he had a shield battery, he still has 2 Stalkers. Maybe he can get 2 more out, but even that's in question as more units show up for Trap.
This is the kind of game that I love to see. Trap takes the first game pretty damn decisively, but it wasn't without a little bit of fireworks and cheeky stuff from Haas. I think the attempt of pulling the probes and the zealots was cool. To take down the Stargate definitely bought him a bit of time, but you know when you've already invested in that Nexus that your opponent hasn't done, and then you're also throwing your mining off, like it's just, you can't afford to do that really.
I absolutely think that if it had just been about the Stargate being canceled, and that was probes, that was lost mining time, that did not make it a perfect game for Haas. I feel like if that was it, if it wasn't for the proxy pylon and the adepts that got through, plural, I feel like actually Haas starts up warp gate faster, or has more production faster, or has the shield batteries as a kind of I don't know what he's doing, so I'm going to play it safe. But instead, he had to constantly worry about everything else that was happening in the game as opposed to just doing his build.
Yeah, I mean, like this, Haas taken down the Zealot, obviously, and didn't micro his probes back or anything, which you absolutely can do. I think if he was a little bit quicker, that could have been even better. I was just thinking about this situation, because it's obviously the first adept that got in that dealt quite a bit of damage. Maybe if Haas walled off while he was killing that, and then he could have recalled his probes back in, being aggressive as well. I as soon as I start watching Haas, I start thinking next level StarCraft. But I think it was a cool response. But obviously, Trap was very good with the few units that he had.
Yeah. I mean, I feel I can't really interpret Trap's expression at the end there on a camera, but I don't know, it was almost like a. Yeah, I guess that does work. Kind of I thought it might, but I wasn't sure. I do feel like, MaxPax, for instance, has kind of proven that at-home Stargate can be almost as lethal as a proxy. He does just sending it across the map with a bunch of units. But for anyone else to do that in any situation, I've always been a bit shocked. And for Trap to do that after losing the proxy Stargate, I mean, there's no way he was that confident it was going to work. Maybe he was. I don't know. I
mean, it's so much lost mining and the amount of probes that he killed as well. I don't know about it. But anyhow, getting into Romanticide here. Currently 0-1 down. He needs your support. It is Haas.
And in the bottom right, as the red Protoss, he is Trap.
So, Zombie Grub, if you were Trap, and, you were waiting for your next opponent, and you were thinking it was going to be Zaun, what do you think he was thinking when he saw it was actually Haas taking that series? Because that had to be a little bit of a relief for him, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, I think that is, first and foremost, it is a relief. Because he's probably going over all his past matches versus Zaun, which have been, a decent amount and very close as well. And then it's the other guy that wins, the guy that you already defeated 2-0. And even though maybe he looked better in the next PvP, you probably still look at that and I should be confident against this guy. And, well, now Trap is already up 1-0, kind of reminiscent of the first series, where very quick 2-0 could be very possible. Haas is going for a normal opener here on Romanticide, 2-gate to 2-gate, and we'll see what that means for the follow-up.
He didn't probe scout, though, by the looks of it, from what I can tell on the map and such. Maybe this is his first probe, so that's definitely a little bit greedy there. That's what we call a Rotterdam scout in the business. But yeah, so Trap is just making sure that his opponent isn't up to no good very quickly. He's been cannon rushing earlier on today, and he can do these Nexus first builds, so just getting a quick idea of what's actually going down. But when you don't scout in a PvP, that usually does signal that you're going to be up to no good, maybe with a proxy robot or something like that.
Could be, yep. I mean, this is a map where some other Protoss players do attempt a 1-gate expand, so I think Trap would have to at least consider that, so get the scout in a typical PvP fashion. For Haas, I mean, yeah, maybe just trying to cut a little bit of a corner while still feeling confident that Trap would not do something super early on, and he's right about that. We have our different openers of units now, 2 Stalkers to a Stalker and Sentry. Very safe macro opener for Trap a lot of the time. Could be a little bit aggressive here from Haas. He sends him across the map.
I do like Romanticide for this, where you get the Sentry out nice and quick and just getting the quick hallucination. He's going to follow up with the 3rd and 4th Stalker behind all this. I think they're both playing pretty nicely, actually. Haas, the 4 Stalker hit squad is something that he's going for. That could also be a bit damaging.
I was very confused by that second pylon.
You were thinking that was Traps? He's like...
I thought it was a shield battery, and I was like, well, it definitely blocks your Nexus, Trap, but you do you. No, that makes more sense. Just blocking it out. Also being able to see if they're, what popped out of the gateways. In this case, it only showed one Stalker, which means it was probably another sentry. And then there's the 2 that come forward for Trap to actually defend. He gets actually a kind of cheeky scout there, sees that it is, in fact, 2 more Stalkers, and perhaps has to be a little bit worried about what that else could mean, because the Nexus, even if the probe's there, doesn't mean it's always being taken. And it is a Twilight Council for Haas before that Nexus.
I mean, he's been loving Blink Stalkers. That's pretty much been his go-to unit throughout the PvPs today, and I'm not surprised. He actually does pretty all right with them. I usually see Haas win from some of the cheeky stuff, but in the Zam game, I think he just played better than him, honestly, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but it was true, at least for today. So Trap's going to get a full scout, seeing that really fast Twilight Council. Trap has been doing this on Romana's side, I feel like, more than other Protosses, which is going for a follow-up Robo, as opposed to doing the, more typical follow-up Twilight Council and Forge, blink and +1. And for Trap, this could be kind of a weird situation if he's thinking aggression and harassment and then is actually being pushed. Trap, it doesn't know about the pylon, does he?
I don't think he does.
But he's going there, which is why I was like, wait a second, hold on.
Sixth sense Trap over here. If a gateway drops down...
Oh, okay, well, never mind.
Wow, that was almost Sixth Sense Trap, but no. You just went for a little wander there, just to make sure nothing was going off, but not quite far enough. But the early Immortals, a nice call by him.
Yeah.
He hasn't been probing super hard, but as I say that, I just saw Haas cancel the probes that he was making as that got scouted, which, he is absolutely lining up and all in here, and he's trying to sell the idea that he was still doing the economy. Oh, nice. Beautiful scout by Trap.
Yeah, really nice there. Just, dotting his I's, crossing his T's, all that good stuff. It is kind of interesting that Haas is going to, he's going to be aggressive. He did stop pro production at least for a little bit, but ultimately he also does have a working Forge, which is something that Trap has seen as probably like, what exactly is going on here? But having seen the proxy gateway, you got to know that at least they're going to dedicate some resources to an attempted attack.
Ooh.
Trap with a shield bed and Immortal back at home should be good to go. So I actually really like that he just warps in only 2 Adepts, saves the Warp Prism for sure, and then just gets a couple of probes. This very aggressive Blink worked out for Haas last time versus Zound, but not nearly as good versus someone with 2 shield batteries and an Immortal.
Well, I think this just went down the drain for Haas quite a chunk here, because that is 8 probes going down, your attack being shut down. It is good that he's going for charge. That works out very well against the Immortals and stuff, but that was definitely not a good 30 seconds for Haas.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing that could have happened well for Haas is that if Trap was totally, blindly confident that he wasn't being attacked and, dedicated more to a pressure with that Warp Prism, I feel like that's the only way that would have really gone well. But otherwise, a guy with a Robo probably going to add in an Immortal pretty quickly, and then having only decent amount of Stalkers at a super overwhelming amount isn't really going to cut it. And the continued hallucinations are really just striking out of all the possibilities that Haas go into to surprise Trap. It's really hard to surprise someone who just has scout after scout after scout.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I love how safe Trap's being about all of this. He's not skipping anything. He's absolutely doing everything slowly, and here we get to see a little bit of a replay here. It was just not enough Stalkers combined with this Guardian Shield to take down any of the units, which is very unfortunate for Haas. More Adept harass coming in here with the Warp Prism play, just denying mining and doing what it can. This is all great, because Haas, he wants to be aggressive, he wants to be in his opponent's face, and Trap's just doing a great job of slowing it all down.
Yeah, this looks so abusive, right? This looks like just Trap is playing the better build order, but it really can be a very different scenario if Haas had just been playing more macro-oriented and less about the attack. Because then he does have Blink to hopefully chase down the Warp Prism, or he leaves Stalkers back in his main and his third to, again, chase down the Warp Prism. Doesn't take the damage, still can have some map control, and is playing into, your own mid-game PvP on Romana's side. But now, having taken all that damage, despite having the Blink, because he's trying to be aggressive with it, not defensive, the aggression's not adding up to the same effect as these Adepts. If it was, then fair enough, but it's just not.
Haas is doing a good job here of just slowing down this third attempt, picking off a few units here and there in a few buildings, but Trap's Blink will be done soon, and that gives him a lot of chase potential, which Haas doesn't know about just yet. What happened to that Prism? It didn't die, did it?
I think he actually got pulled back. He realized that he was actually leaving units this time around, so going to be a bit trickier with the Adepts, as they have a Shade. They are quite mobile even without the Warp Prism, but I really have loved his use of the Warp Prism, his use of the Robo Opener in this game. And while Haas does have that faster +2, so I mean, the Stalker numbers are important here. The Stalker upgrades also important. It feels like Trap has certainly weathered some very potentially bad storms, and now gets to play out into the mid-game PvP too, but with 3 Immortals that could really pack a punch.
Yeah, it's got to be said though, like this is the man that's cutting no corners in Trap, that's just been safe, and his army's definitely more solid than Haas, but Haas, despite things not going too well for him, I'm looking at that supply zombie grub and I'm like, okay, he's up on workers, his upgrades are better too, he's actually getting like a Robo now, Templar Archives and stuff. He's definitely still in this.
I almost kind of wish, I mean, I understand why Trap couldn't do it because he was under some Stalker pressure, but if he does move, okay, he's going to move out now. If he does move out, use the Warp Prism to attack, his army is better. Like, until the Archon numbers grow or the Charge Lot numbers grow, Trap's army is pretty darn good. The timing of this is absolutely perfect for Trap as he just bypasses that Scouting Zealot. Haas has a little bit of advance notice, but not by much. It looks like he'll have +2 for this engagement, which makes it a little awkward for Trap, but let's see how these Immortals do.
Yeah, I mean, those are 4 big lads at the back of that army, and that is a lot of Zealots actually with it, so they might be shooting Zealots for most of it, but those 3 sentries as well that he's kept the whole time, that is a lot of force field potential, which is exactly what goes on here. But that Immortal, or rather the Archon, doing a good job of getting a hole through it all, but Trap's army, I love his position in here.
Yeah, he's almost going to take down the Nexus. Targets down the Archon. The Warp Prism, though, also gets targeted down. So Trap, it was all there, and it was enough. The Warp Prism was, you know, sometimes what actually makes or breaks an emergency defense, but not there. It was already a very one-sided engagement, and Trap dashing everyone's hopes and dreams. It is going to be a 2-0 for the GSL runner-up.